I am opening a little special something from Adam Savage.
Hey everybody, Adam Savage here in my cave with another one-day build. This one is photography related, but we're going back to the origins of photography. This is a print of yours truly, done in a process called a tintype. It's wet plate photography. You apply a liquid on the plate, and then you apply some light to it, and you create a chemical reaction, and at the end of the chemical reaction, the result of the reaction is that you get a photograph. This is the origin of photography. And we've covered it on Tested. I believe that photograph was taken by wonderful Tested contributor Michael Schindler. And I was recently corresponding with Gary Oldman about stuff he was working on during the lockdown. And Gary is an avid and wonderful photographer who works in wet plate photography. And he was talking about the fact that for larger plates, so the plate you're exposing onto is sometimes, well, it can be like this big, or it can be like 8 by 10 feet. The limitation is the machine you've got in putting the image onto the glass. But Gary's been working with 11 by 14 inch glass. And in order to do this type of photography, you need to have perfectly clean glass. And there's this whole protocol for doing it. And there are actually clamps for holding the glass perfectly on its edges so that you can clean it. Because if there's any blemishes on the surface, they will show up in the photograph. Gary was complaining that he could not find a clamp for 11 by 14 inch glass. And I said, that sounds like a solvable problem. That sounds actually like a fun challenge. That's today's one-day build. I'm going to build Gary a clamp for 11 by 14 inch glass so he can do wet plate photography. Let's get started. Okay, so I've actually switched wood. I was starting out with this wood, which felt a little too lightweight and soft. And I had some heavier duty wood. And I think this will be the the very perfect thing that I need. I'm going to have two pieces on either side and a floater in the middle to support the middle of the glass so that the operator can really scrub on it. There's going to be three main linkages between the two jaws holding the glass. In the middle will be a long piece of all thread that will be actually providing the force. And on the outsides will be a pair of aluminum rods. I've got some thicker wall aluminum tubing here. And I just drilled a Forstner bit hole in this scrap piece of wood I had. And lo, I find it's actually a pretty good little wax on there. I'm actually pretty pleased with how that goes. I think that might track nicely. Just a little bit of light oil in there. Actually, let's try that. Let's see here. Ooh, yeah. That's great. Okay, so we are going to drill some holes in these two jaws and also give them some jaws and decide what their top and bottoms are. And then I think that once we're in that construction phase, the assembly is pretty quick. And if I screw it up, I should know in a fairly short order. All right, I have my three pieces here. I've got two outsides And I've got an inside. And the holes all line up just gorgeously. It's just lovely using a mill for woodwork. Let me just mark A, so I know which end is which. Yep, okay. Now, it's time to figure out how to loosen and tighten this guy. I've got this hunk of steel, so this is going to hold. Let's see here. Then this guy will live in here, and it should lock here, back, jaw, capture plate. I'm sort of thinking about using something like a big wooden handle here because it's actually kind of great. And what I could do is I could, I have to clamp from the outsides. Right, I have to clamp from the outsides. So the plate goes on the outside, the capture plate. And same with this one. That way I'm pushing against the wood, not pulling against the screws. Yeah, so I can pot this in epoxy or resin of some kind. Can I do that? Is that what I want to do? I think I'm going to make my own handle. I think it's going to be prettier that way. Do I have a wood bit for this stuff? No. Time to make some plates to hold on to this stuff, but as you can see, the clamp is starting to come together. Yay! They will be one! Parts are shaping up nicely. That's the capture nut. Well, that's these are going to be the two pieces of steel that sandwich everything together. So now what I want to do is I want to mill down the end of this 1/2 inch or 5/8 11 all thread that I have here. It's big fatty stuff. And I want to turn down this end so it is 3/8. That way it will fit through this, and I'll be able to put a nylock nut and a thrust bearing, maybe a thrust bearing, but at least a nylock nut and a Teflon bushing and capture that. So I got to chuck this into the lathe and turn it down until it looks like that. So this is a threading die. This will give me, when I turn it on the end of this post, it'll give me these threads. That's 3/8 16 NC? Yeah, I think so. National course. I want to make sure it's exactly flat, so I'm going to put it into this, which end? Yeah, that's the end I do first. And tighten this down. You bring this up here like this, and then you actually bring in, you bring in the face of your chuck. There you go. That's nice and flat all the way around. So let me get some cutting fluid. Get some cutting fluid on there. Yeah, great. And so as I'm turning this, I'm also turning the handle of the tailstock so that it grabs and grabs. Oh, I want to turn this too. Now, once I've got it started, I'm pretty good, but I'm going to keep on putting pressure on it using the tailstock just to make sure. Ooh, you hear that? Yeah. So it's curling up some little thready threads, and then I'm breaking them off. Oh, look at those lovely threads. Look at them. Let's see, here's the nylock nut I have for the end of this, and does it fit? Yes, it does. So now the plate will sit here like that. Then I'll have a little washer, and then I'll have this nylock nut. And I'm actually going to trim this down a little bit, flatten it, chamfer it so it's all pretty. Here we go. Okay, now it's time for me to I want to countersink these plates into the wood because I think that'll look nice, and it's going to be a pretty easy little bit of machining to do using the mill. So I want to position these in situ, as it were, which means, yeah, I'm actually going to tighten this thing down a little bit, and then I can mark the final positions. Oh yeah, you can see here. There we go. So, yeah, what I got to do is all right, it's time to drill the holes for my mounting hardware. Come on, there we go. So, I'm actually going to do this on the... All right, I have some aesthetic things I want to do with this, but right now, it is seriously time. Oh, there. It is seriously time to test the operation of this. That's the next thing, because I want to cut my I want to cut the big rod down. I want to cut it down to size, although actually it may end up being about this size. Yeah, it might be. Okay, so, right, I'm gonna do this. that. Oh, yeah, you want to see this, right? Yeah, there we go. Bah! Oh, right. I got to put in the screws. Yeah. Okay, so let me get drill bit. I'm going to pre-drill first part. These wood screws I'm using don't have to be very load-bearing, thankfully. So I'm just going to put 2 in each side because I'll save the rest for final assembly. Yeah. That'll be the one it locks in. And I'll have a couple of countersunk screws from underneath. Great. Yeah. I've bored out those holes just a tiny bit. They don't need a ton. For the most part, this is meant to clean a single pane. Come on. There we go. All right. Oh, that is freaking cool. Okay, right. So I gotta get this guy in here. That's about 14 inches wide. Just a little bit of sanding and now it fits beautifully. Look at that. Look at that. This is coming out great. All right, let's pre-drill. Okay, so now I'm gonna do a little test here. And I don't sure I actually ever have to shorten my main threading screw here. I will likely want to. All right, that is a clamp. Hang on, I got something to try. This is an operational test of the clamp. I have here a piece of 10 by 14, give or take. I am going to, oh, that was opening it. Now I'm gonna close it up and clamp this piece of acrylic in. Now this piece of acrylic is not glass. Okay, first of all, sides are really nice and parallel. And the grab is super positive. Yep. Yeah. And that's, hold it down on here to scrub it. Oh, yeah. This is great. This is wonderful. I need to figure out what to do about this guy. Okay, we have an operational success. Now it's time to do some final shaping. Now that I've solved the engineering, it's time to do some final shaping of the components. Yeah, it's gonna look really pretty. And here you can see the finished clamp. I'm really pleased with how it came out. It is very smooth. The handle turning action is very light. It clamps the glass on a 14-inch length and pretty much anything above 3 inches. So this is a pretty universal clamp. I just hope Gary loves it. Oh, and here's the label. I actually signed it. Made by a Savage 620. Yeah, let's do some close-ups. All right, the next thing to do is to pack this in a box and send it off to Gary, and I hope it works for him.
Right. Okay. Oh my word. Look at that. It's even thrown in a hat. Oh my heavens. Look at this. What a thing of beauty. Okay. Adam, it's absolutely magnificent. This, oh look, loose, tight. Okay. I am a wet plate photographer, and as Michael Caine might say, and not a lot of people know that. When you're making ambrotypes, glass plates, you have to clean the glass like within an inch of its life. It has to be so spotlessly clean, or the collodion that you use, which is kind of really liquid film, will not adhere to the glass. So I needed a holder for the glass. So what happens is you place the glass in here in these little rabbits here. You tighten the glass in the holder, and then you take your cloth and you use a cleaner, rotten stone, little water, little alcohol, and you clean this glass absolutely, like spotlessly, till it squeaks, till it's squeaky clean. I shoot all different sizes of plates, and I had one of these holders that was for a 10x8, but I could not find anywhere a holder for a piece of glass this big, which is 11x14. And Adam, look at this, look at the detail here, look, the signature. Look, made by a savage. You can say that again. I cannot thank you enough for this. This is absolutely marvelous. You've made it look 19th century. You've made it look sort of period. It's a beauty. Thank you. Bless you, Adam. Thank you very much. It's a thing of beauty.